deficit against Virginia Tech on Saturday, but then it kind of got away a little bit late. What were you able to do so well but not sustain?
Well, we had a poor start to the game, Dave. We were, I think, 0 for 10 from the field to start, and then I think we finished the first half either somewhere around 3 for 21 or 5 for 21 from the field. It may have been our worst offensive half of the year. Give Virginia Tech a lot of the credit. They were way more physical than we were. They were extremely tough defensively. And then we also missed some open shots. So it was a combination of Virginia Tech, really great defense in that first half. And it was also, we missed some that we normally make. We cannot allow our offense to affect our defense. And so that was the issue in the first half. The second half was phenomenal. Our guys played with energy. We had a great halftime meeting where the players spoke, I spoke, it was animated, and we really got after it in that second half. Again, the rally fell short, but we gave ourselves a chance to come back and potentially win the game.
When you got it there tied, I think it was Lawal who hit that three at the top of the circle. He's a very athletic kid from Virginia Tech. What kind of challenges does he present?
Well, we spent a lot of time debating which coverages to be in with him because he's so dynamic around the rim. He finishes everything. His dunking stats are incredible. The athleticism, the ability to finish. A lot of players are athletic, but they can't dunk. They can't get the ball in that way. But he puts the ball in around the basket, and then he's a very good shooter from three on low volume. And so we debated a lot of different coverages, and he went out there and knocked down that three. We had a stunt from the weak side, and he knocked it down. He made a huge play, and that three by him was one of several key plays that helped Virginia Tech get the win against us.
Thank you.
We'll go to Kip Coons.
Yeah, good morning, Mark. Just wondering now, you've made a home stand, last week against two East Coast teams. Now you're back on the road. What have you discovered now about dealing with coast to coast flight and managing your team in those situations?
Kip, it's a great privilege and opportunity to be part of the ACC. Now, with that, of course, there are challenges. Returning home, our flight was delayed 2 or 3 hours. We got home about 6 a.m. last Sunday. Even today, there was an issue with staffing on the flight, and so we're delayed a couple of hours. We'll get into the hotel probably when it's all said and done around midnight, somewhere between 10 and 12 p.m. And so it feels a lot to me like an NBA style travel situation. The only difference is in the NBA, when you go east, typically you have 5 or 6 games on the East Coast. And so we're going back and forth every week. So in some ways, it's more challenging than an NBA schedule as far as my experience in the NBA. And so as a staff and as a coach, as a head coach, we're really trying to be efficient with our guys. We've been on winter break for a little while, so there's been no academic pressures on the players, but that's going to come. And so our practices need to be very efficient. We need to give the players ample rest, and we got to custom tailor to this reality, and we're doing it, and we split the homestand. We wish we could have gotten both. Virginia Tech came in here and smacked us and got us, but we're going to continue to chip away and improve and get better as a team and learn the travel more and more.
Will you have some suggestions for the ACC schedule makers going forward when this is done that you've kind of, I see, already. You've kind of gleaned already.
Yeah, okay. My biggest suggestion, but the other teams, there's no way they'll sign off on it. We'd love to go out there for a 4-game stretch or a 6-game stretch. But why would North Carolina or Duke or NC State or Syracuse agree to that? Because then that gives us an advantage being out there and getting adjusted. So they're not going to agree to that. But yeah, that's suggestion number one. Suggestion number two, and this one should always be able to be done. Cal and Stanford, we should always be allowed to try to get 2 trips in. The first trip and the first week and the third week, we should be on the East Coast, because at least now we're going east when we're either not in school, or, maybe just you're missing a few days of that start of the January semester. So that should absolutely be in place every single year. My first suggestion, I would love for it to be considered just more like an NBA road swing, 4 games at a time, 6 games at a time. That'll be a non-starter with a lot of the schools. So I get it. It is what it is. But the other one should be implemented.
Go back to David Teal.
Mark, you mentioned having to be more efficient with your practice time, given the rigors. How difficult is that, if at all, for a coach to, kind of tap the brakes and back off on your players?
It's hard. It's hard because we have a lot of things we need to cover. We've had a lot of guys out this year with injury, and so we've had younger guys stepping into roles, and you need practice time. But there's a lot of ways around it, Dave. We're moving more to an NBA type model where we're going to work hard on the court for the time we have the guys on the court. But this travel can wear players down. Okay. It can wear players down. I know as the head coach, if I'm feeling tired and I don't have to play a single minute, I know the players are feeling tired. But there's a lot of ways around it. More individual film sessions, more individual technique work. Again, more of what is done in the NBA. I was talking to someone from, a top organization 2 days ago, and he just said, hey, in the NBA, there's no practice anymore. It's all individual work. And so we'll mix in practice, and we'll increase the amount of individual film and work that we do to be able to counteract maybe the issues of the travel.
Mark, that's all the questions I have for you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Safe travels.
Thanks so much, guys. Look forward to seeing you guys in person soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Last up today, we got Kyle Smith from Stanford. I believe they're on here. And if not, we'll hold for them.
Hey guys, we're finishing up practice right now. We'll be a couple more minutes.
Perfect. Thank you.
We've got Coach.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good to see you.
I guess you too.
If you have a question for Kyle here, please just use the raise hand tool, which is the react button at the bottom of the screen. If you're just joining us and you need access to record, let me know that as well. Ben Parker, you are up first, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Just kind of want to get your thoughts on the upcoming trip you got here with Wake Forest and Tar Heels. Just kind of thoughts on those 2 programs so far.
Well, obviously, this is Heart of Tobacco Road a little bit, so it's kind of exciting to be. We want to be a part of it and also prove that we belong. So pretty unique. I've actually coached at Wake when I was assistant at Air Force, so it's been a while. But never been to Carolina, so I'm excited about that. I think our team's excited about it. Obviously, we played pretty well this week, so hopefully we can play better on the road this time than we did last time, and hopefully growing in experience and comfort in the league.
David Teal, you're up next.
Kyle, you mentioned that you didn't play particularly well the last time on the road. You did that Clemson Pitt swing, and now you've got the two-game Carolina swing. Is there anything you learned from those travel rigors that you will apply to this trip that might be different?
No, I think we're staying on the same routine. And I should correct myself a little bit. I pulled a lot of positives out of there as far as
Okay.
like our starting group. Getting off to a good start of the road is really hard. And then we couldn't sustain it. And Clemson kind of punched us in the mouth a little bit. But bad road trip is when you go there, you're down 14-2 and you cut it to 8 and you feel like, oh, we played, whatever. So there were some positives coming home, and then our bench and guys are a little more comfortable. So hopefully we got to get to the second level, is be able to get off to a good start, hang in the game, get down to the last media and have a chance to win. But I think we're going, like I said, we came off the flight last time, had one of our best practices, a little caught off by surprise at Clemson. And like I said, guys were maybe excited the ACC, we're taking charges, et cetera. So I'm hoping we have some of the same pop. We'll see.
You were able to sweep the Virginia teams at your place last week. Did you notice anything from their teams, from travel fatigue or anything like that?
Just lack of familiarity. I don't know. I thought Virginia Tech, obviously, start off up 16-4 on us, and I have a ton of respect for both coaches. But Coach Young, going back to when we played him when I was at Columbia and is at Wofford, and they came out with a lot of zeal, and then they carried, and we were able to play our best second half, I thought, of the year. And then they carried over and got a nice road win at Cal, and kind of, they hung on, but they got off to a good start. So they seem well, they played well. And then Virginia, I just don't know enough. But we played our best game of the year, and at home, and hopefully it's something to build on. We'll see if we can take that on the road, but you probably have to ask those coaches more.
What made it your best game of the year? What did you guys find?
I think obviously, Donovan Young's been hurt for us most of the year. We finally it just gives another rotational guy in the front court there with athleticism and just a little more depth, I think. And they allowed him, even though he's at a starting role, he's still a young guy. But it's just added another guy, I think, that helped us defensively. He made a lot of good plays, and I think just we need a little depth, and it took a little heat off some other guys too, and they played well off the bench. Our bench played great, was what's probably the best part of that game.
Go next to Kip Coons. Go ahead, Kip.
Yeah, Kyle, I just asked Mark Madsen this question. I want to give you your shot at it. When the season's over, will you have any observations that you'll be able to share with the ACC schedule makers that might make the East Coast, West Coast travel situation smoother for you guys and the teams that are flying out there?
I think they already, I don't know if it's a written rule or spoken, but I looked at all our Saturday games at home. I don't think we play one later than 4. So it looks like they accommodated them to get their butts back home. And I would advocate for playing our games at 1:00 on the East Coast and vice versa. Really care about student athletes. That'd be something I'd share. Like, let's give us a chance to get home Saturday night so they have a day of rest. And also, I know that TV dictates a lot of it, but Thursdays, I don't know where, I guess we don't do Thursdays, but obviously if they could do some Thursday, Saturday travel would help everything involved. And I'll make that recommendation now. I don't need to go to the end of the season to do that. I think the team's coming out, making that trip. I think they'd feel the same thing. Like, hey, if we can do that and create a window for the TV games, like, hey, it's a East Coast ACC game or West Coast ACC game is 3:00 Saturday every day, or whatever, 2 and 4 with Cal and Stanford. I think that would be helpful, as long as they do it for us on the other end.
Mark suggested that you might want to look into adopting kind of a modified NBA schedule where you go on the road from west to east for, say, 4 games in a row before you go back home. Would that be something that might work for you? If everybody else went along with it, obviously.
Yeah. I would he'd probably be much more comfortable in that with being his NBA track record in that. I don't know. There's no easy way to cut it, but we'll see how we get through this. I mean, thus far we're we're looking at, we got 4 trips, back east, 1 trip to SMU, and that's just a single game. So that's not that. So we'll be halfway through it after this week and take another pause and come back home and hopefully, we'll halfway through it.
Anything else? Seeing none. Kyle, thank you. Safe travels today.
All right,
Appreciate it.
thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate the time. We'll see you all next week.